Hey guys, Sam here with D-Life HD. Today, I'm going to be doing a quick off-the-cuff video just discussing with you something that is blowing my mind. And that is a new game coming to the GamePass service. Now I know we normally cover all the games coming to GamePass on what's new on GamePass. So we'll definitely be covering this at a future date. But I just wanted to go over this because this is kind of huge, and the implications it has, I think, are worth discussing on their own. So, stick around, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so, what am I talking about? Well, recently, Game Pass has been expanding quite a bit. Of course, with the acquisition of Bethesda, there have been a ton of new titles coming over. But one little title was recently announced. Just shadow dropped on us out of nowhere. And I'm going to stop beating around the bush. That title is OctoPath Traveler. Now, if you don't know, OctoPath Traveler is a Square Enix title developed by the same team as Bravely Default, which is another game I'm a huge fan of, and Bravely Default was a 3DS exclusive, now with the sequel being a Switch exclusive. And for a little while, OctoPath Traveler was also a Switch exclusive. In fact, it was one of the games that was revealed at the Switch's reveal event, and so it was always kind of tied in with the Switch's branding. After a while, OctoPath Traveler came to PC, and then later received a somewhat sequel exclusively in Japan for mobile. And so it did seem like maybe it was expanding a little bit beyond the Switch, but it's not uncommon to see PC ports of games that are on the Switch. But seeing it come to Xbox Game Pass, that is mind-blowing. And we've already seen a title like Dragon Quest 11S, which was also, the S stands for Switch, as far as I'm concerned. Dragon Quest 11S came to Xbox, and that was a huge RPG title. But now Octopath? If you think about it, Dragon Quest had already been on the PlayStation and then came to Switch with some special features, so it wasn't all that mind-blowing to see it come to Xbox, although really any JRPG support for Xbox does tend to be a little bit, mind-blowing, but this is just even more mind-blowing because this is a game that was made for the Switch, has been tied into the Switch for so long, and then after all these years it's just going to come to Xbox. So why is this so important? Well, for a long time Xbox has had kind of a bad rap in Japan, and Japan, of course, has some incredible RPGs, just some amazing RPGs. And since Sony and Nintendo are both Japanese based publishers / hardware developers, well, you tend to see a ton of JRPGs being developed for PlayStation and Switch. And so, companies like Square Enix, though they're not tied to one brand in particular, will occasionally make RPGs that are exclusive to one console or the other, and oftentimes they'll make RPGs that end up on both. Let's think of recent examples. I mentioned the previously released Bravely Default 2 as a Switch exclusive, and I didn't mention this, but I will. Final Fantasy VII Remake was a big one that came to PlayStation exclusively. More and more JRPGs have been finding their way onto the Xbox, such as a slew of Final Fantasy HD versions and re-releases, and that's kind of a big deal. But now we're seeing a brand new game come over. That is just, I don't know if it really means anything for the future, but it feels like it does. It feels like it means maybe we'd see Square Enix be willing to put more JRPGs on Xbox, especially with Game Pass just being such an incredible service. And I could even see that being a really popular option for xCloud, which is a streaming service so you can play games from your Game Pass on your phone, on the go when you're not near your console. And that can be not a great option for a lot of people for games like, battle royales or things like that, because those require quick precision, and a lot of times streaming to your phone is not exactly a one-to-one experience as playing on a console. But for games that don't require that input precision, like OctoPath Traveler, could be an extremely large boon to the service to be able to offer games like that. And if you have Square Enix backing you up with these massive titles, then you are in a good position. And I would be so happy to see Xbox really expand into the Japanese market, create more competition over there, and start to get some awesome, awesome games on Xbox and on Game Pass. Yes, we need this. We've seen other games, such as the Yakuza series has recently come to Game Pass, and that's been really cool. And then Scarlet Nexus is another upcoming game. Not a JRPG, but it is a Japanese game being released by Bandai. And that's coming to Xbox, and it has been heavily tied in with Xbox's marketing, actually. Even though I do believe it's coming to PlayStation as well, it's been marketed as an Xbox game primarily. And so, it just warms my heart. I mean, in the end, these are all big corporations, and so, like, it doesn't really matter too much what happens, because it doesn't affect my life all that much beyond like what games I get to play. And I have a Switch, and I have, PC, and I have Xbox, so it's not like it's too big of a deal. I can just play a game wherever it comes out, and I've already played OctoPath Traveler, so it's not like mind-blowing for me. But there are people who only have one console, and for years I have kind of felt bad for people who play exclusively on Xbox when it comes to missing out on these incredible JRPG experiences. And that may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who have played the JRPGs, few and far between, that have come out on Xbox and wanted more, and it's just been inaccessible to them. And I hate to see games come out and for people to see them and be unable to play them. So anyway, just to wrap this up, basically just a rant to say, I think having Octopath is a good step, a very good step, and I want to see this continue. So keep on bringing games over. Quit putting games out exclusively for systems that should be played by tons of people. And if it has to be a timed exclusive, so be it. But I'm just imagining games coming to Xbox, coming to PlayStation, coming to Switch. Let's just get these games out everywhere after a while so everyone can experience them. And not to mention, there are some games I think would benefit being on more powerful hardware. When I did my Bravely Default 2 initial impressions video recently, I said it was an incredible game, but it struggled a little bit on the graphical side. I feel like it was sucking every little last drop of juice out of the Switch. It would probably run so buttery smooth on the Xbox with no issues. Or on PlayStation. Just release it. Come on, let's do this. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. There are obviously some games like Xenoblade and Bravely Default that are kind of heavy hitters for Nintendo. But, there's that upcoming game developed by the same team as Octopath, Project Triangle Strategy. Imagine if they announced that was going to be dropping on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. At that point, I would just get it with Game Pass. I wouldn't even need to pick it up for Switch. That would be incredible. Like, I want to be able to take advantage of these services that I'm already using to play games I'm looking forward to. Let's do it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let us know what you think of OctoPath Traveler and other JRPGs that have come to the Game Pass service. Are you playing any of them at the moment? Because I would always be interested to discuss that with you. And if you want to keep the conversation going beyond the YouTube comment section, feel free to join our Discord server, which we'll put a link to below. And also follow our Twitter account, where we like to post gameplay of the latest releases, as well as other information and just our thoughts regarding all the events happening as they happen. It's a lot easier to get things out on Twitter than it is on YouTube, so sometimes we can have a little bit more of a real-time reaction to things on there. But anyway, y'all, make sure and just give the video a like before you're out of here, and thanks for hanging out with us today. Until next time, I've been Sam, and make sure to always stay one up. We'll see you later.